Today in this video, I would like to explain to you how we deviate from the norm here in Armenia, Colombia, in the real estate business. My name is William Hutchison. Along with my wife, I own Armenia, Colombia Realty for Expats. And as the name suggests, our focus is on expats who want to live, mostly retire, in Armenia, Colombia. Our comments can be extrapolated over most of Colombia. This is not a unique area where the comments that I'm going to make today are specific for. Colombia is pretty generalized country, and the real estate comments will be applicable anywhere. I think we deviate in 6 main areas. The first that is to us very important is that we have adopted the American Realtor Code of Ethics. Understand it's completely voluntarily, but it follows the business protocols that I personally have been instilled with over 40 years in finance and residential construction. I'm not going to go into the reasons that we went to that. It's covered in our very first video. I think the title of it is Welcome to Armenia, Colombia Realty for Expats. We talk in depth there about the deficiencies and the things that we'd like to see improved, but probably will never be. The second thing that we do is we understand our clientele, mostly from North America and Europe. We do get the odd contact from Australia, but we don't accept overpriced listings. It's a waste of time for us. It's not good use of our day. And here in Armenia, there's a lot of overpricing, especially in the private market. The people don't understand that there's competition. They have no knowledge of the market. Every decision they make is because they've heard of something, the market is booming or whatever the phrase is. But the issue is when you start with a base that's too high and you're trying to follow the market upwards, you'll always be ahead of the market. And the people don't seem to understand that. They don't realize that they cannot create a market. Any buyer that has experience in purchasing real estate will look at more than one property, probably in most cases half a dozen, and will compare the value of each. The third thing that we do probably a little bit differently is we accept listings in only the barrios where we would live ourselves. In Armenia, that means the area around the airport. There's some barrios out there, probably 5 or 6. That's the place to live in Quindío. A lot of professional people, properties up to 600,000, 700,000, which is a lot of money in Colombia. We only list the properties where we would ourselves live. There's 2 or 3, 4 barrios in Armenia city itself, and there's parts of a couple of others. It just depends what the buyer's looking for. There's one barrio, for example, Laureles. It's convenient to everything. Everything is within 3 or 4 blocks except medical. And medical is a 1.5 kilometers away, and it's a dollar taxi ride. But in Laureles is 3 blocks to the largest shopping plaza in Armenia, an upscale grocery store that has a lot of imported products. You pay for them, but you can get hunts if that's what you want. And within probably a 4 or 5 block radius, there's 20 little restaurants and cafes where you can go and have a coffee, read a book, people watch, just have a nice, quiet time. The fourth thing that we do differently than a lot of the other realtors, we don't accept rental listings. We will happily look for a rental. We often do, but don't include rentals on our webpage. Rentals are a lot of work, and the return is minimal. The fifth thing that we do in Colombia, there's a lot of verbal offers, verbal acceptance. Then you go to put it on paper and the numbers change, or the dates change, or the arrangements change. All of our business is documented from the very, very beginning and understood by my clients at least. And I do what I can, if another agent is involved, to have their client understand things totally as well. It's the nature of the beast. It's not going to change. You sell anything, and if you have an ad for it, the first question that someone will ask when they call is, what's your minimum? And my response to them, because I've sold some furniture and those sorts of things on an ad, is make an offer. And in the real estate area, when you make an offer, that means it goes on paper. The sixth thing, that is probably the most important thing of all, is we see our role as the protection of people coming here, the protection of expats, to see that financially they are not taken advantage of. In a lot of cases, Colombians will look at gringos as their personal bank machine. As an example, I was on a showing about 2 months ago. There was a house listed not far from me here for 680 million. I'm going to give you these numbers in Colombian pesos. 680 million Colombian pesos. That right now at today's exchange rate is about $150,000. Shortly after, the price was moved up to 800, which is about 185 at today's exchange rate. A good bump, especially on a house that's been for sale for probably close to 3 years. So we went on a showing, and during the showing, the other agent told us that the price had increased that day 10% more. I was with people from the United States, so it was obviously the gringo move. Things in Colombia, it's common knowledge, there's two prices. And part of our focus, a lot of our focus really, is to advise people coming here to cool the jets. Because when you come here and see that a home in your home city, home country, would be maybe $1.5 million, selling here for 300,000, the urge to buy is very, very difficult to resist. But those deals will always be there. We're talking two different markets. I mentioned that we don't take overpriced places, and I have turned down 2 in the last month, 1 just a few days ago. And just to give you an example of the private people trying to set their own market, the one condominium nothing special. On the 11th floor, nice view, nice kitchen, 160 square meters perhaps, but just a regular everyday condominium. There's nothing in it that the finishes are standard. It's ceramic flooring, nice balcony, but the market for that property is about 700 million to 725 million, and they're asking 840. So they're 20% out of the market. Surprisingly, one in the same building, asking 729 is worth 625. So that one too is 20,000 too much. I leave those to other realtors, and I'm pretty sure that if these people stick to their price and take advice from another realtor and follow the market up, they're going to be listed for years. There's no doubt about that. I've seen listings here for 5-6 years, and there's no price reduction. In fact, some people here, the place doesn't sell for a long time, many months or more than a year, and they increase the price. So if it didn't sell for 150,000 US, how do you think it's going to sell for 170? So we try to keep our operation clean. We try to have properties that are saleable. I will never have very many listings because of the restrictions on the barrios. In the good barrios, there's not much that you can buy under 130 or 135,000. So our listings will always be at the upper end of the market. We want to see our clients safe. We want to see transparent transactions. We want to see the expats' financial commitment protected to the best of our ability. And our advice to anyone that wants to use our services, you will get my opinion. There is no question about that. If the property is 150,000 and it's worth 130, you're going to hear from me. And if I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. You might want it, and you might end up buying it. You might not take my advice, and that's fine. I'm pretty thick-skinned. But when the day comes to sell, and the profit that you thought might be there isn't there, then you can look back at the day that you and I talked about it, and hopefully understand that the advice that I gave you was advice that I would use if I was using my money. No different. I will treat your commitment, your financial position, your purchase as I would treat my own. That brings us to the end of this video. It's a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but I hope you understand that we are different in Colombia, but we are not different in what you would expect from a real estate company in your country. It's just a fact that North America and most of Europe, I suspect, countries like Australia, are far ahead when it comes to the real estate system and the real estate business. This is William Hutchison of Armenia, Colombia Realty for Expats signing off. I live in paradise. You can too.